Am I the jerk for pulling away from my identical twin sister even though I know it has caused her to spiral? I, 18 female, am an identical twin. Our parents encouraged an insanely close to the point of codependency relationship, and my sister fell hard into it while I resented the hell out of it. Our parents even named us super similarly. My sister is Katie and I'm Casey, and the spelling of my name was chosen intentionally. Our parents wanted us to match always. My parents and sister always expected us to do everything together. We shared a bedroom and bed our whole lives until June. That's when I packed up my stuff and I moved out of our parents' house. Our parents insisted to every school we went to and every teacher we had that we'd be in the same class and sitting next to each other all year. When we had field trips, we were to be each other's buddy. If one was invited to a birthday party, then the other was assumed to be invited too, regardless of whether they were or not. All our extracurriculars were the same, and it was fucking miserable for me because I hated them. Those were all my sister's interests, not mine. Anytime I tried to set boundaries with my sister, she'd discard them and would carry on as normal. And normal for us was being codependent and super enmeshed. I was never very close to our parents, but I gave up on ever having a good relationship with them when I was 11, and they got mad at me for keeping a secret friend from my sister. They actually accused me of bullying because I wanted to keep a friend to myself. That's how bad things were. My sister has always hated when someone liked me and wanted to be my friend but didn't like her or want to be her friend. For my sister, we're one and the same. If you like one, you like both. She doesn't see us as our own individual people, just as twins. Identical twins who are alike in every single way possible. I remember being in the hospital when I was 14, and she wasn't allowed to stay with me, and my parents were removed from the hospital for abusing the staff over enforcing that rule of no minors overnight. I was released after 2 days, and those were the best nights of sleep I had until that point. I also felt like I got some breathing room, which was needed. My sister never slept. She was an absolute mess because I wasn't there. It made me wish I could have stayed in the hospital indefinitely. We were supposed to go to the same college, live together, and our parents planned on bullying admin at our school of choice into assigning us as roommates. But then I acted like I wasn't going to college. I stayed with a friend and blocked my family for a while before me and my friend moved out of state to a community college. I just started everything. I got a job too, so I can support myself, which is also my reason for community college. I did unblock my sister, and it's been awful. I have debated whether I block her again or not, but if I do, I know it will be a forever thing. There's no doing it for now. If I block her again, I won't ever have a relationship with her again, so I'm trying not to, and seeing if she can try and grow. But she fell apart without me. She's already dropped out of college. She's back living with our parents. She has pleaded with me to come and take her home with me. Our parents used her phone to call me and say I'm awful for pulling away from my sister who needs me. They said I'm being abusive and accused me of trying to cull her with this. I can see her downward spiral, but I just can't be enmeshed with her for the rest of my life. I want to be me, not Katie's twin, Casey. So am I the jerk? Am I the jerk for not wanting to contribute to my stepson's college fund? My, 39 male, and my wife, Emily, 38 female, have been married for 12 years. Emily has a son, James, 17-year-old, from a previous relationship with Dan. Emily left Dan when she caught him cheating with a coworker. They shared 50-50 custody of James. I met Emily about a year after he had left Dan. A year later, Dan married his affair partner, and Emily and I got married soon after. James never really bonded to me. I admit that I tried a little too hard initially to get him to like me, but backed off when I realized I was trying too hard and it was having the opposite impact. Over the years, we've built a tense acceptance of sorts, if that makes sense. Emily and I have 3 kids, 10 female, 7 male, and 4 male. James doesn't have a good relationship with them either. He bonds well with Dan's sons, but doesn't like spending much time with our kids. He isn't mean to them, but just ignores them mostly. The eldest 2 now just avoid him when he is home. Emily and I both have well-paying jobs, and early on, we decided that I would contribute 80% to our trio's college fund, and Emily would do 20% because she would contribute 100% to James's college fund. We didn't know if Dan was making any such arrangements on his end, but we thought that at least this way James would have something instead of nothing. Emily recently sat him down to talk to him about his college fund. He seemed happy with the financial help he was going to get. He went off to Dan's for the weekend, and when he came back, he asked Emily about our kids' college funds. When he learned that the amount was fairly higher than his, he was upset. When he asked about the disparity, Emily told him about our college fund setup. He was furious to know that I hadn't contributed to his college fund. He said that I was just pretending to play family with him all these years, that I really didn't care about him and was a heartless. Emily suggests that we could take some money out of our youngest fund and give it to James and that she would add it back over time. But she said that it's my call, that she won't pressurize me either way and would accept whatever I decided. Quite frankly, I don't want to do it. James idolizes his father, even now that he knows he cheated on his mother. I could deal with his bad behavior with me, but I never understood his attitude towards our kids. We even tried going to family therapy. He refused to go because I wasn't his family. Now when he needs money, suddenly I am family. I know I am perhaps being petty, but I don't want to give him the money. Am I the jerk? Edit. I think some clarifications are in order. 1. I don't hate that James idolizes his father. I hate that he blames his mother for their family breaking up. When James was 13, he had heard from one of his older cousin, Dan's side, what his father had done that led to Emily leaving. When he confronted her about it, she explained. We tried for therapy then, but didn't happen. We'll explain later. Last year, he told his mother that he believes she was responsible, that instead of leaving Dan, she should have forgotten about what he did and continued to stay with him. Emily was expectedly shocked, but when she asked him if the situation was reversed and she had cheated on Dan and he left her, would then Dan be blamed for the family breaking up? He said no, that would definitely be her fault and made no further explanations. This was not as a result of an argument or heat of the moment statement, ironically. This was a casual dinner table conversation. The other kids had to be excused from the table. 2. When Emily and I had gotten together and things were starting to look serious, she had wanted to take him to a child therapist who could help him adjust better to the changing situation around him. Since they shared 50-50 custody, Dan's consent was needed. He refused. When we were going to get married, we tried for therapy. Dan said he got married before us and James had no issues. We were overreacting. He didn't need therapy. When the above incident happened, when Emily was pregnant with our daughter, and most recently after last year's incident, this time we asked him directly. We thought if he agreed to family therapy, then we could speak to our lawyer and work around the custody arrangement since he was almost an adult. This was when he refused therapy, saying I wasn't family. 3. For all those saying that I am treating a teenager like an adult, that I made him feel like the other and not one of us. We tried. When we both started earning well, we wanted on splurge on our kids during birthdays and holidays. James was never excluded. Whatever our kids got, he got too. In fact, as he is older, he got to pick what he wanted. For his 11th birthday, he wanted to go to Disney World. Both of Dan's kids were invited. His youngest son and my daughter are the same age. He went, she wasn't invited. We stayed home. 4. We started the college funds about a year after our daughter was born. Emily couldn't start one for James earlier since she was a stay-at-home mom when she was with Dan. It took her a while to get back on her feet. She wasn't in a position to immediately start a college fund for him. What a lot of you pointed out is right. He has been shortchanged. Emily will recidify that and make up the deficit he should get by the time he starts college. But that will still not make it as much as he remaining 3. We have decided to sit and have a chat with him this weekend about everything. Am I the jerk for not allowing my kids 11 and 13 to travel to the Middle East, Dubai, with their dad this winter to visit his family? I, 41 female, had a very difficult marriage with my ex-husband, 42 male, who was financially and emotionally controlling. We lived in the Middle East after our marriage, where he kept control of my and the children's passports and restricted us from traveling. His family constantly interfered and caused conflict, and because he was financially dependent on his father, he never defended me. Eventually, we came to the US with my children. His family told me I could only return if I followed their rules. Sounds crazy, I know. But I chose to stay in the US, built a career in IT, and ultimately left the marriage. Since then, we've been co-parenting. I have primary custody, and while he pays child support, he refuses to provide clothing or essentials for the children, and instead deducts those expenses from my child support payments. I currently have a case pending with the Division of Child Services regarding his violations of our agreement. He does not have a job and relies on his family for income. Earlier this summer, he asked if the children could go with him to the Middle East. I told him I was not comfortable with that, especially given the risk that he could keep them there without my say. Since then, he has been ignoring me completely. He only speaks through the children, has ignored over 20 of my messages, and I later discovered he blocked me. During this time, I was handling all of the children's medical and school needs, including physicals, dental cleanings, orthodontic consultations, and back-to-school preparations, without any input or communication from him. He has also made inappropriate comments to the children, telling them I am just mad because I can't afford to go to the Middle East, and even laughed about it with his brother in front of them. Now, with his brother's girlfriend expecting a baby in December, he wants the kids to travel there for the birth. But given his history of control, the lack of communication, his habit of deducting child support, and the real legal risks of the children not being allowed to return, I do not feel comfortable allowing them to go. Am I the jerk for not letting them go to Dubai visit my ex's family? Thank you for watching, like, and subscribe for daily Reddit stories.